Hey everybody, Mr. Regan here, and today we're going to be looking at taking our iterative test that we submitted to Kenta Paha and going into the Futur network to see what feedback Ken has for us on how we can improve our overall treatment that we found at the end of our iterative testing. So today I'm going to be breaking down how to, number one, analyze Kenta Paha's feedback, and then how to complete the feedback summary table that we're going to have in the next set of tasks. Because the feedback we're about to give is going to be vital for us to not only find our optimal treatment, but also to improve upon our general treatment overall. So here's how this is going to work. You've received a letter from Ken, and the feedback has suggestions, but not answers on how to improve your design for the next test. So when you go into the Futur network, you're going to see the feedback malaria design in your inbox. And when you click on it, you're going to get a message, as you can kind of see here. Now, we're going to look at an example of this feedback. Everyone's feedback will break down the 3 criteria based on the results that you gave, Ken, for those criteria. So if you notice, there's drug resistance, patient side effects, and treatment costs. So it doesn't say anything about the actual drugs, orders, dose, and days. It just says, here's what my feedback is on the results for those criteria. So let's take a larger version of these and break that down a little bit more. So in this example, there are going to be different parts that are going to be designed in your design that are going to strongly address the criteria. And that's what we're going to see kind of in this green highlighted sections. So the parts here point out that this person, this example treatment, did a great job. The results show a small percentage of malaria parasites with high resistance to the drug. This could mean your drug treatment will be very effective for a long time, as we discussed. Try to keep your future designs near this value or even lower to be sure your total parasite population decreases. So if you notice, he's just giving you general feedback. He's not telling you did a good job on your trade-offs. He's not telling you what drug dose or how many days to use. He's just letting you know that you're in a really good spot for your drug resistance. Now, this imaginary person's treatment, when they submit it, if you notice, has some yellow highlighted sections. The parts highlighted yellow here from that feedback page tells them that they moderately address the criteria related to patient side effects. So I see that you tried to address the patient side effects and you have made good progress. However, it would be better to have fewer side effects so that patient will be more comfortable during treatment. So if you notice, this person did a moderately good job. They are looking at possibly improving it, but it's not in a very bad place. It's not in a great place. It's somewhere in between. Last but not least, you might get feedback, as we can kind of see with the red highlighted or pink highlighted section, where we weekly address the criteria. So this person, as you notice, weekly addressed the criteria related to cost and keeping that low. So very few people will be able to afford your high costs for your malaria treatment. The high costs might help to reduce the drug resistance, but if people are sick with malaria, you can't get treatment, it's not helpful. Have you considered using smaller doses or different combinations of drugs? So if you notice for this example, or these different examples for the strongly addressed, moderately addressed, and weakly addressed criteria, when we do well, he'll let you know this is something we need to keep maintaining or keep the same. He'll let you know if we have any moderately addressed criteria that maybe you should focus on improving it in some way, shape, or form. And if there's any that you weakly addressed, he'll try to give you some specific details on how to improve it. Now, we don't really know what the results are, so you'll have to really look at your results and say, okay, what are my side effects? What are my costs? What are my numbers? And if Ken's saying they're high, medium, or low in terms of how they addressed it, how can I improve it? So, for example, if this person's cost was about 2,000, that tells you that maybe to get a much better result, or maybe to get a strongly addressed result, you need to be closer to maybe 500 or 1,000. It all depends. So, you have to really gauge his results and feedback to figure out how to improve it. Once you got your results, you're then going to go into your malaria feedback table. In here, you're going to fill out this table to reflect on Kenta Paha's feedback. So you'll start by recording your results so you know what your results are and can begin to make sense of it all. You're going to identify if you strongly, moderately, or weakly address those results. So, for example, if this was yours, if these examples were yours, he said you did a great job strongly addressing the resistance. So whatever your numbers are, you would have strongly addressed. I believe it was moderate for side effects and was weakly for overall cost. So you'll identify how you did. You're then going to pick a goal that you want to use to achieve a goal you want for that resistance, for that side effect, for that cost, as we go into making more iterative tests. So, for example, for the strong, maybe you want to keep the results similar, as Ken explained. For the moderate, maybe you want to improve this result a little better, but continue making trade offs for this criteria because you want to prioritize resistance. Maybe for treatments, you want to improve this result, but continue trading off because, again, we want to have higher resistance and higher side effects, whatever your goal may be. And then you're going to go under here and explain how you're going to do that. So maybe your strategy in order to keep this result the same is to maintain the same uh, drugs used. So the number of A's, the number of B's, or C's. Maybe in order to improve side effects, you want to lower the dose, and maybe to improve the cost, you want to lower the dose as well, whatever your strategy is. But you'll have your results, you'll have Ken Tapaha's feedback, you'll decide on what your goals are. You can have more than one goal or just one. It's totally up to you. You can bold it or delete it, whatever works best for you, but I should see your goals in there. And then how you're going to accomplish it in your actual next set of iterative tests. So that's how we analyze Ken Tapaha's feedback and how we complete the feedback summary table. If you put your X in yellow or red, reach out. Otherwise, good luck.